All right, Shalom. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha, Qadash. Double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. And peace and mercy to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. I'm the brother Yawanathan, back with another quick lesson. Lord willing, it's edifying. And yeah, so, my son was watching this show on YouTube. I think it's called Dino Core or something like that. And, I was passing by. I looked at the screen and this is what I see. Ancient Paleo Hebrew, what we call here in the faith, the Lashawan Qadash, which in the Hebrew means the holy tongue. All right, Lashawan means tongue or language. And Qadash in the Hebrew means holy. Holy means separate. This is the first original language. They call it the Paleo Hebrew. All right, in the cuneiform, characters, they call it Paleo, which I believe, I forgot what the word Paleo means right now. Let me look it up real quick. Paleo. It means older or ancient. All right, especially relating to the geological past. So Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, who is the devil and Satan, and this proves it, he'll put some ancient Hebrew, some ancient Paleo Hebrew in a cartoon where, the child is watching a cartoon. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. He doesn't know that that's a language. See, they use that in the show as like the little coding or whatever on the computer. So you think it's just a bunch of symbols, but hey, when you compare it side by side with the ancient Paleo Hebrew alphabet, those are all the same characters. And there's no made up, there's no made up characters there. Every single character that they showed on this cartoon here, when I was, I sat down and I started watching it because I'm like, what the hell is this? It caught my eye, my spiritual eye. And they weren't throwing in like a mixture of just different characters. It's strictly the 26, I believe, characters of the Hebrew alphabet. I sat down and watched it for a couple minutes, man, and I was just like, whoa. That's it's heavy, because they'll sit there and say that, we're crazy and, we just made this thing up. The Lashawan Qadash, the ancient Hebrew, and the names of the Most High, Yahweh, or the name of the Most High, Yahweh and his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. They make it seem like we just made this shit up. But meanwhile, they themselves accomplished a diligent search and discovered that is the ancient Hebrew language. All right, those characters are the ancient Paleo Hebrew, and that's really the original language of the earth. When you go back to Genesis, I think the 10th chapter, and it speaks about the Tower of Babel. So I found that a little hypocritical. You got people that attack us, that say that we made it up, but yet these devils who make these Hollywood movies, and a movie that I'm thinking about off top right now is the movie Stigmata, I believe 1999. Stigmata, if you watch that movie with stigma or stigmata, that goes back to the Greek character of one of the sixes. All right, stigma in Revelation 13, 18. You can start at 16, go down to 18. When you see that it says 600, 3 score and 6, which equals up to 666. When you look at it in the Greek text, it says Xi, Shai, and Stigma, which stigma is the last 6, basically. So there's actually a movie called Stigmata, where I think it was a lady. I'm trying to remember the plot, but I'm gonna just give you a rough breakdown. Pretty much this lady was having some type of paranormal experience, some type of paranormal phenomenon, where she basically felt what the Lord was feeling on the cross. She felt like her hands getting pierced, and she would have dreams. If I remember correctly, I remember I was just watching a movie, man. I didn't expect to see this, but right up on the wall, they had a demon in the movie that manifested itself to this lady, and the demon started writing Paleo Hebrew on the chalkboard, and I'll never forget that. So there's a lot of movies out there where they put the Paleo Hebrew, the Indiana Jones, I think Raiders of the Lost Ark, they show you the Paleo Hebrew. So, you know, these scholars and these devils that did and accomplished a diligent search into, you know, the ancient things, mainly of the Bible, but even secular history and stuff like that, they have all the records, man. They have all the records, and they put it in your face like a joke, you know, for entertainment. But yet, here it is. Let me get this real quick. I believe it's Zephaniah, the 3rd chapter. Yeah, Zephaniah chapter 3 in verse 9. It says, "For then will I turn to the people a pure language." And that's what we call the Lashawan Qadash. You know, that's goes back to 1 West, you know, that saying, or calling that language the holy tongue, because we understand that is the holy tongue. That's the tongue that's the language that Yahweh Shai spoke unto Paul. You know, that's the language that even in Revelation it says in the Hebrew tongue, Armageddon. You know, he gathered them in a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon, which in the Hebrew would be Harmagadwan, mountain of troops. So you find remnants all throughout the Bible that lets you know that men back then spoke Hebrew. They didn't speak Yiddish, the modern Slovakian, Germanic, made-up language that the so-called white man made up, that he's saying that that's Hebrew today. You know, the language that the small hats speaking. That's a bastard tongue, man. That's disgusting. That's demonic enchantments when they speaking that shit. That's not ancient Hebrew. There's nothing holy about that language. That shit was made up. It's a demonic language. The holy language is Hebrew, ancient Hebrew, Paleo Hebrew. All right. It says, "For then will I turn to the people a pure language." Talking about here in these last days, the Lord restored the Hebrew language back, because the so-called white man, he wasn't going to come out and tell you this is how you say the name of the Most High and his son in the proper language. He wasn't going to tell us that. He knows it, but he's going to give you some Yahweh bullshit. All right, some Yahuwah bullshit. But no, the name is Yahweh, and obviously he don't want you to know that. Why would he want the Hebrew Israelites, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, to know your origins and your language? All right, he's oppressed you. He completely destroyed us as a nation of people, stole our heritage from us and lied to us and gave us this language, English, or, you know, depending where you at in the world. More than likely, you know, you Israelites are speaking slave tongue, something that your oppressors taught you, whether it's Spanish, English, French. You know, all of these are heathen languages, so to speak. These are not the languages of the ancient Israelites. All right, so we coming back to our heritage, all right, which was once discontinued according to Jeremiah 17:4. You see, that's the Lord turning the pure language back. It says in the NLT, "Then I will purify the speech of all people," which means what? Giving you the proper language. You know, giving you the true understanding. Like it says, that they may all call upon the name of Yahweh to serve him with one consent. All right, so the Lord had to give us back at least a remnant, a fragment of the ancient Hebrew and some basic understanding, at least, in order for us to know that that's his name and to call upon it. Because we see, when you look at the manuscripts or the ancient texts, and in this particular verse, when it says Lord in all caps, and really any time in the Bible you see the word Lord in all caps, if you go through the concordance to the original language, you're going to see the characters Yah, Ha, Wah, and Ha. All right, which is the name of the Most High, Yahweh, the same name that he gave to Moses in Exodus 3 and 15 and 16. All right, so yeah, we supposed to be, as a nation of people, we supposed to be calling on those names. But you see guys like Nate and these other Hebrew Israelite camps of false prophets, they don't teach a name like that. They don't exalt that name. But that's the whole purpose why the Lord gave us the Hebrew language back. All right, here in the last days. So, you Jakes, man, you really got some nerve, to not want to use the true proper name of the Heavenly Father and His Son, when prophecy right here tells you that the Lord was going to do that so that we can call on His name. It's not so you can have a Hebrew name. All right, it's not so you can rename yourself Ban Israel or Ben Yisrael or, whatever these guys are saying. The Lord mainly did that because only through the names of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai could we be saved. Romans 10 and 13, all right, Acts 2, Acts 4 and 12. You see, so that's why the Lord gave us back the language. But here it is, these devils, they put it in children's cartoons and in movies, making it seem like it's some made up shit, like they just made it up for the story or whatever, for the story of the movie, just to put something in there so it could look like ancient and, but meanwhile, the Lord, He gave it to our apostles, our elders, and the men that was before them. He gave them this language so that we can know His name and we can properly call on His name. You see? So I just find this heavy, man. I just wanted to do a quick little, walk and talk. I just came outside. It's snowing. It's not snowing, but there's snow everywhere. And sometimes I like the aesthetics of seeing, the snow like that. But this was just on my mind since I seen it. It was a couple of days ago. I seen this and yeah, man, let me get one more scripture, matter of fact. What is that in the book of Psalms? Chapter 64, I quoted it earlier. It says, 1 second. Psalm 64 and 5, right? No, 6. Just get straight to the point. It says, they search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. And this is talking about really the minds of the elites of Esau, Edom. But then you have, people underneath them, like movie directors, movie writers, etc., producers, that you think if somebody's going to make this great movie that's going to become, a box office hit, and they planning on making millions and billions of dollars off of this movie, you think they wasn't going to read the Bible and look at history before putting these movies together? You think these people didn't do deep research on certain things, or they just made everything up? If they just made everything up, remember, you got the term art imitates reality. All right, you're not going to enjoy a movie unless it's based on something you can relate to in your everyday life, something that you inherently know and could connect with. If it's all just some made up fairy tale, fantasy land bullshit that has no true substance to it, those movies don't do too well. And people don't really like those movies because they don't find no connection with the film. All right, they can't put it into perspective. Everybody has to be able to get something out of a movie. That's why people love movies. People don't just watch movies strictly for entertainment. All right, some people, higher-minded people, more intelligent people watch movies because there's certain clues and nuggets and historical truths in these movies, man, that they would never tell you in a book, in a history book or in college, etc. You see, so that's what they do. They search out iniquities. They all invested into wickedness, making this world the kingdom of hell. And they accomplish a diligent search. So they're very diligent. They're studious. All right. And they don't just make shit up. The so-called white man, yeah, he's a liar. He's a devil. All right. But when he puts these movies together and these different shows and different things like that, a lot of the time he's putting gems in these movies that only higher-minded people can understand. You see, because most people, they just going to watch certain things and just not even pick up on it. They wouldn't even know that that's ancient Hebrew or anything like that. And especially for children. I mean, it's a children cartoon. A child would never know something like that unless you taught them that. But why did they choose to use that? You think they just pulled that out of thin air? You think they made that language up? Nah, man, them people know, man. That just proves that Esau Edom knows, even those that make children's cartoons, they know certain things that the common people don't know. All right, but I just wanted to put that out there real quick so you brothers could see it. And, it's